Heather, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me.
And it's so fun, like right before I push record, I'm always like, all right, so how is this one going to start? What are we going to do? Sometimes I ask a certain question, but today we're just rolling right into conversation. How about that?
Sounds amazing.
So tell us a little bit, Heather, about your medical career up to this point.
Sure. So I trained in family medicine and have worked many different jobs as a family doctor. I worked primary care, urgent care, ER. I worked in nursing homes doing wound care. So I've done a number of things over the years.
Interesting. And where did you end up now?
So now I decided through my own kind of journey with the menopause transition, now I coach professional women in the menopause transition and beyond for permanent weight loss.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd had my own kind of experience where everything was going fine, nothing had changed, and all of a sudden my weight started to go up. And I was always kind of a food as medicine person, so I was interested in nutrition, and I thought, what is going on? And then, dove into the research to find out how things change when your estrogen drops, how that changes actually your digestive system as well, which brings on weight gain for a lot of people at this life transition.
Interesting. And you then transitioned into being an entrepreneur then, it sounds like, huh?
Yeah. It's been really fun. I get to have some geographic freedom. I get to set my own schedule. And I love working with these other professional women. It's really been a blast. My husband and I had both had parents that had some level of rental houses or real estate, so it wasn't unknown to us. So we had a couple of opportunities, maybe 15 years ago, where we bought an office building, we bought, a couple of rental houses. And then at some point we thought, if we amp this up and did more with it, we would have, not feel so tied to our jobs and feel like we had more freedom, that way. And even looking at retirement, thinking, we'd watched people in 2008, older people that we knew who were like worried about taking money out of their retirement, and you had to, and thinking, do we really want the stock market to be in charge of our whole retirement, which is probably 10 years away for us. And so we thought, gosh, real estate would also be a great way to diversify that. We had a duplex as well, and then from there we decided to scale up. So we decided to learn some more things, get into some communities, like you said, of people talking about real estate. A lot of doctors do this with other doctors, and so did we.
Yeah.
So then we bought a 5-plex in the Detroit area, and now we have a couple of JV partnerships in. We have a 27 unit in Hartford, Connecticut with partners, and a 27 unit in Troy, New York with partners. And then we did our first syndication this spring near us, 77 unit.
Wow, nice. So the difference that you mentioned JV, so a joint venture partnership versus syndication. And that joint venture partnership it can be similar like a syndication, but just not as many people. There's the main partners. Yeah. So typically it may be 1, 2, 3, maybe four groups or LLCs could be paired together in these joint venture partnerships. Very interesting, have more control, a little more risk in those as well too. Yeah. But then you mentioned into the syndication piece. So cool. You mentioned one place there that scared me. You mentioned New York. You own real estate in New York on the residential side. Have you had any worries or struggles when it comes down to, because to me that's a state that may lean more towards the tenant than it does the landlord?
Yeah. I think the city of Troy is okay, is that the laws are more fair there than they are in New York City proper. It's also a growing area with a lot of businesses moving into it, and we have partners there who are operators, kind of our managing partners there are operating it, and so it's doing great.
Nice. That's awesome. That's such a fun progression there. So now you're doing these syndications. What about the syndications have you liked or disliked compared to those joint ventures?
Sure. Well, we had bought into some syndications and noticed that the people that ran them themselves are the people who are paying us money, and the ones that just raised money for somebody else were not getting paid as well. So we thought, well, if we did this, we would run it. So we are the managing partner on this syndication. And I've really enjoyed working with, a really high-level property management company who's very sophisticated, which is, helping me grow and learn more about running buildings and apartments of this size. We work with a team of, there are, 6 of us who are kind of the managing team on it. And that's been fun to build a team because I love working and collaborating with other people. And kind of just seeing what people's, bringing in people who have different strengths than my husband and I have, so that, to kind of fill out the team so that all the bases are covered. We just looked at the syndications that we're invested in that aren't us, and that was very clear from that. And when we did our own syndication, that was one of the things that we told people: we are going to run this with this company, and we are putting our own money in it, and so that gave people a lot of trust for them to invest in us. And we did our underwriting very conservatively, so it's going better than expected. And we wanted it, to work, with very conservative numbers, so that, we want to make money for the people that are working for us as well as ourselves.
That one's hard to take too, because I'm sure everybody hears it. Everybody does their underwriting conservatively. I mean, it's not like anybody that comes out and say, I really shot for the moon on this pro forma,
Right.
So hopefully we can get there. So those are the things that it's like, you and I, when we say this, we understand what that means, on where we're pulling our information from, how we're doing our due diligence. But it's one of those things, like, sometimes when you hear "I love you" too much, it loses the value of that. And when you're in the investment world, especially in syndication, you're like, conservative projections, like, yeah, right, come on.
Yeah.
But it's different when we're saying them versus when we're hearing other people say them, because we always hear it. Like, everybody always says conservative, But anyway.
But we made sure that the expense line was high enough, and that if things didn't go great and we couldn't raise rents, what it would look like. So for ourselves, we really tested it, because we wanted it to be a success if we were going to do it. We just hired a bookkeeper to help us keep track of all that, because we're noticing that it's harder. We do use Google Sheets for some of it. We do rely on our partners, like the 2 that we have in the ones we have in New York and Hartford. We go to the meetings, but we're not keeping track of it. We're just looking at what they've put together as far as paperwork. So we hold each other accountable that way. But I'm one of the good things about having partners is that you take care of the ones that you take care of. Mm-hmm. The one I have in Detroit, we have a management company there, so I visit when I'm there. And otherwise I just keep track, looking at the online portal that I have.
Interesting. And so you've got different property managers, and you've got syndication. So you're getting all different kinds of information coming in, based on the asset, the income, all of that stuff. And you say you've got a bookkeeper. Does that mean that that's going into QuickBooks, and then who's taking that data from? Is it QuickBooks, or how's it getting to Google Sheet?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not I get this same sheet from this property manager, I get this same sheet on the same day. It's so perfect. It's not like that. So how do you tie all this stuff together? And is that Google Sheet the main dashboard that you look at?
It's not. We do use QuickBooks, and we have our smaller properties under one umbrella, so everything just kind of goes into one place and then gets labeled. So, and then we pretty much use QuickBooks. I would say don't wait to scale it up. That's really the thing I would say. As physicians, sometimes we just have money that sits in the bank or sits in the stock market, and I would say it's worth working with what the capital that you have to get some real estate.
Don't wait to elevate. How about that?
I love that.
All
I
right.
love that.
Heather says, don't wait to elevate. That's awesome.